Namaste everyone and welcome to Supergrad CAT. Now, yet another session on the series CAT Sure Shot Success. And what is the session about? So we'll be discussing very importantly this particular question that a lot of students have in their mind. Can an average student get into an IIM? क्या एक एवरेज स्टूडेंट आईआईएम में एडमिशन ले सकता है या नहीं? आई वुड हैव लव टू शेयर photographs of a lot of previous year students who have had an average candidature, if you can call that average, because when you look at their CAT percentiles and their performance in interviews, you really cannot categorize these individuals as average anymore. But the public perception, the general feeling that students have is that they have got less scores in academics, that they have got less number of extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities, and therefore they tend to feel that they have an average candidature. So this is exactly what we are going to question today, that can an average student get into an IIM, and I'm going to talk about it in the form of facts. तो हम facts को लेकर चलेंगे, हम उसके basis पे reasoning करेंगे, and then we'll debate and discuss the final result. Can you seriously think of getting into an IIM or not? So let's start this discussion. So the agenda, I have just a 3 point small agenda, a very brief session so that it doesn't waste a lot of your time. And at the end, you can be very, very clear that irrespective of the current profile that you might have, there is a seriously good chance that you can land up in an IIM. So uh, let us first define what is average, because a lot of people might have different feelings of average. So you might be a good student, but your own perception about yourself will be that I'm average. Or it might be the case that you are having this comparison with others who are super brilliant, and therefore relative to them, you are saying that you are average. So what exactly is average? We'll cover that part. Expectations of IIMs. So what are they expecting? And we'll talk about facts here. We'll not talk about perceptions. There is absolutely no scope for subjectivity when we discuss expectations from IIMs. And finally, the syllabus for CAT and what is required to get into an IIM. So very quickly, let's start with what is average. A lot of people feel that if they're poor in academics, so when they say they're poor in academics, let's take a general scenario. What is it that you will feel is average? If you feel you've got a score in 10 standard as, let's say, 75%, will that be average? Or if you've got a percent 70, will that be average? How would a 60 to 70% wala range wala student feel? Would he feel that he would be considered as a poor student? Would he be considered as average? Would he be considered as anything else? So there are a lot of questions. How do you define average? That is a bigger question. So when you ask such generic questions कि क्या average student को मिल सकता है, it's very important to understand average का मतलब क्या है. तो एवरेज स्टूडेंट से अगर आपका ये कहने का मतलब है कि आपके 10th के मार्क्स कम है, 12th के मार्क्स कम है, तो अंडरस्टैंड दिस पार्ट एंड विल टॉक अबाउट फैक्ट्स एज विल टॉक अबाउट एक्सपेक्टेशंस फ्रॉम IIMs, that as long as you have more than 50% in your 10th 12th, as long as you have cleared your 10th and 12th, आप पास कर चुके हो, और आप as long as you are a graduate, even if you are appearing in final year, you are eligible. And when you are eligible, that is the base criteria. If they would have wanted कि कोई 60% 70% वाला candidate आए ही ना, they would have disallowed those candidates. They want people to apply and get into IIMs if they have some other good things going for them. So understand कि eligibility criteria बहुत क्लियर है IIMs का, एंड क्या कम स्कोर्स के वेटेज के कारण फाइनल कन्वर्जन होगा या नहीं होगा, that we are going to discuss later. But what would you call average becomes a very vague question. If somebody is scoring 90 and above, we'll call those students in academics as doing really well. फिर अगर किसी का 80 to 90 है तो you'll call them average or above average. Then 70 to 80 है तो क्या average बोलोगे? There is no clear cut answer for this. The reason I'm saying this is कि आप academics को कंबाइन करके बोलोगे 10th एंड 12th, या सिर्फ आप 10th का देखोगे 12th का नहीं देखोगे, या आप 10 12th के बाद ग्रेजुएशन को भी कंसिडर करोगे. सो आई हैव सीन न्यूमरस स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव गॉट अ 10 CGPA in their 10th standard, but in 12th standard their percentage are 70. So will you call them average or not? So there are a whole lot of questions. So first things first, please do not worry too much at all about your profile and say that I have an average profile or I am an average student. Similarly, my benchmark to define average will be your ability to learn. Are you someone, if you're being taught something, it can be in academics, it can be in communication skills, it can be in logic. If you are feeling that you are someone who can learn quickly, If you're someone who feels that you can adapt to situations when it comes to academics, if you're someone who will be able to communicate well when prepared, if that is all that you can do, then you should not put yourself in the category of being average. If you're a quick learner, that is all that they want. आप बहुत जल्दी सीख सकते हो, then you're fitting really well to get into top IIMs. The second part is sincerity. This is again a very, very important attribute that I'll say is required when you want to get into a top IIM. You will have to work hard sincerely for long durations. If you have the ability to learn quickly and you can be sincere and hardworking for a long amount of duration, there is nothing that stops you from getting into a good IIM. And now we'll talk about facts. So when we talk of facts, expectation for PI from all the important top six, seven colleges that you can think of in IIMs. There are 21 IIMs in the country as of now. And IIM Calcutta gives a 10 and 15% weightage to 10th and 12th scores. IIM Ahmedabad has a very different criteria, and therefore there is another session that has been recorded. So I'm ignoring IIM Ahmedabad. IIM Bangalore gives 10% weightage. IIM Lucknow gives 0 and 10% to 10th and 12th. Indore and K are probably the only two colleges that you will miss out on if you have very poor academics in the first phase of shortlisting, even if you have a very good CAT percentile. But apart from this, you can see the percentage weightage attributed to some of these ions is less. And therefore, if you happen to get a very good percentile, there is a chance that you'll still get calls from these colleges because ultimately they are having heavy weights for your CAT score. And if you look at IIM Shillong, 60% weightage is for CAT score, and the combined weightage for 10, 12, and WorkX is around 40%. So this is the list of top six, seven IIMs. I have not included Mumbai here because Mumbai became an IIM last year and therefore it had a different criteria, which we'll see in the next slide. So if you look at IIM Mumbai, which is again probably better than some of the IIMs. In fact, NIRF rankings just got released and IIM Mumbai is ranked in top 10. So if I'm not wrong, maybe sixth, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm Mumbai 100% criteria for CAT and 0% criteria for 10, 12th and WorkX. Imagine you can get a call from my Mumbai, and this is for last year. They have not shared the updated details for this year for the admission criteria. आपका पूरा पूरा weightage CAT score पे है. Definitely it's a sure chance that you'll get a call from my Mumbai as long as you have got a good CAT percentile. If you look at all the other IIMs, Raipur, Ranchi, Rohtak, Kashipur, Trichy, Udaipur, Bodh Gaya, Nagpur, Sambalpur, Sirmaur, Jammu, all these IIMs have absolutely no weightage to 10th and 12th ka score as well as academics. Only Amritsar and Vizag, they have around 15 to 20% weightage for 10th and 12th, and therefore there is absolutely no need for you to worry about being average. When you say average, as I have defined, average typically means you've got less scores in 10th and 12th and maybe less scores in graduation. So there is absolutely no weightage allocated during the shortlisting process, which means what? Which means that the only focus that you are expected to have is on your CAT percentile. अगर आप अपना CAT का percentile बहुत अच्छा ले आते हो, then CAT के percentile के basis पे ही आपके बहुत सारे आइम्स की shortlisting तो पक्की है और अगर ये shortlisting हो गई तो how you perform in the interview will be the game changer. So if you look at the final list, so final conversion, final admission offers के लिए अगर हम top 6-7 IIMs की बात करें तो CAT के स्कोर का भी good weighted है which is considerable. And then if you look at the 10, 12th and WorkX ka part, it is not a very considerable score. 0, 0, 5, 5, 0, 5, 12.5. IIMK is probably the only IIM जिसका वेटेज इतना हाई 10th और 12th के स्कोर्स को लेकर जा रहा है. बट उसके अलावा यू कैन सी दैट द वेटेजेस फॉर 10, 12th and so to say being poor in academics will not impact a lot. And if you go ahead to the next part, again you look at 10, 12th के scores, the weightages are very less and primarily the weightages are very high either for CAT score or your interview and writing ability test score. We will have detailed video on how your interview can make or break your final admissions. The weightage for interviews when compared to CAT score and when compared to your relative other percentages can change a lot because of the normalization process that all the ANS use. When I say normalization, your CAT score comes out of 198. And when they allocate 40% weightage, they convert it to 40 out of 40 marks. When they give 60% weightage, they convert your score out of 198 to out of 60. And imagine the entire PI is of 40% weightage. This is giving you 40 marks. So if you have a super good PI, you will be able to nullify the negative impacts of having poor academics in 10, 12th graduation. So The moment you get an interview call, feel confident that if you happen to have a very, very good interview, then the admission chances are very high for you. And therefore, having understood this, the expectation for final admissions for across top B schools is very clear that you need to be getting a good CAT percentile and you need to be doing really well in your essay writing and interviews or the next stage of admission process. Do 10th, 12th, and graduation scores and work ex and academic diversity and gender diversity, do these things impact? Yes. But is that in your control? No. Does it impact so much that you have zero chance or you're hopeless with regards to getting an IIM call? Absolutely not. And therefore, what is the best bet that you have? The best bet that you have is to focus and work as hard as possible to get a fabulous CAT percentile and then do really well in your interviews. So at this point in time, just take away all the confusion that you have. Have just one thing in your mind, and that is to get as good a CAT percentile as possible. So finally, what is the syllabus? I'm sure all of you know the broad syllabus for VRC, DLR, and QA. The more important part while you're preparing is going to be the test of your temperament. While you're preparing, you'll be appearing in mocks and you'll be getting scores which are up and down across sections. So some of you might have very good VRC, but poor in QA and DLR. Some of you might do very well in QA and DLR, but might not be so good in VRC. Some of you might be doing average, above average across the three sections. Some of you might be having fluctuations in scores. Some mocks are very good, some mocks are very bad. Your preparation days will also have these ups and downs. Some days you'll feel very good about your preparation, some days you'll feel horrible that you're not able to focus. This is life, this is preparation for CAT for every other individual. How you navigate through it, whether you are able to sincerely put consistent efforts till the CAT exam and beyond, will ultimately define whether you are able to land up in that IIM. And understand, once you go through all these struggles and then you finally get admission offer, it feels very sweet. It feels that you have achieved something, and that sense of achievement, getting admission offers from final IIMs, is going to change your life completely. So whatever you're doing, please understand that if that hard work, that effort is definitely worth it, and therefore take away all the worries with regards to you being average. Whether you are being average or not is dependent on whether you're working hard to improve your mock scores or not. तो आपका एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन ये होना चाहिए कि क्या मैं मेहनत कर सकता हूँ, क्या मैं मेहनत कर रहा हूँ, क्या मैं सिंसियरली एफर्ट्स डाल सकता हूँ, क्या मैं सिंसियरली एफर्ट्स डाल रहा हूँ. Am I working hard should be the real question rather than questioning whether I am an average student or not and whether I have chances to get into AM. So with this, I think that's all that I wanted to share with you. All the best for your preparation, and I'll be coming soon, interacting with you for yet another interesting session in the same series, CAT Sure Shot Success. For the time being, I'll take your leave. Ciao.